For more, let's speak with Ben Lorber, Senior Research Analyst at Political Research Associates. Thank you for speaking with us from Chicago.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It's the second time now where it seems as though the United States was caught off guard by Israeli action. First, with the airstrikes against Iran's nuclear facilities, and now these strikes on Qatar. Some mild pushback, and then Donald Trump moves on?
Yeah, well, it's a familiar pattern that we've seen both with President Trump and with President, Biden. Publicly they express some chastisement. They often say, that Israel has gone too far. They urge restraint, but we've yet to see, a real meaningful effort to hold Israel accountable for these actions or to rein Israel in. I think at the end of the day, there are very powerful forces within the U.S. that are ensuring that the Trump administration really remains in lockstep with Israel. Both the Christian Zionist lobby in the country and decades of staunch U.S. support for Israel and Trump's own commitment. So I don't think that's going to go away anytime soon.
So it's twofold, the pressure to support Israel, you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, there are decades, of both political parties in the U.S. who have really, given unquestioning support to many Israeli administrations. And within the Trump administration, you have powerful Christian Zionists like Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee, and many others, as well as groups like AIPAC and major GOP donors who are really cementing this kind of support. So that's the bedrock of the U.S.-Israel relationship right now, and that's not going away anytime soon.
So both Democrats and Republicans, you say?
Yes, I mean, we are seeing, increasing pushback from within the Democratic, camp. Both some progressive, politicians, members of the Squad, as well as up and coming leaders like Zoran Mamdani, and we are seeing some pushback in the Republican camp as well. I think in recent months, you have seen figures like Tucker Carlson have expressed some doubt over U.S. support for Israel, often mixing in a fair amount of xenophobia and anti-Semitism and America First ideology. So it is fraying around the edges, and in coming decades, I do think we will see it shift. But for now, it does remain ironclad, at least at the highest levels.
You talked about the U.S. ambassador to Israel, the former Arkansas governor, Mike Huckabee. After those strikes in Doha, Benjamin Netanyahu attended an event in the company of Huckabee. When he's doing that, is he attending an event with Donald Trump's emissary to Jerusalem, or is he attending an event with the Christian rights emissary to Jerusalem?
I'd say the two are one and the same. I mean, Mike Huckabee is a classic example of the kind of, Christian evangelical supporter of Israel that has played a major role in the Christian right. He has a biblical commitment to ensuring permanent Israeli annexation of the occupied West Bank. He will, back whatever maximalist plans in Gaza that Trump and Netanyahu allow. And these folks have a religious commitment to a maximalist and radical right Israeli
Why do they have that
policy
commitment?
Yeah, there are a lot of reasons. It fits in with kind of an end times biblical theology that looks to the prophecies of the end of days in the Old and New Testaments. They also harken back to what they call Judeo-Christian values. They say the U.S. and Israel represent the West. We are on the side of freedom and democracy, and there's a lot of Islamophobia and anti-Arab bigotry mixed in with there, a kind of clash of civilizations ideology that really is ramping up the potential for escalatory war, not only in the Middle East but around the world.
Donald Trump supporters, in that respect, they don't have a problem with Trump securing huge amounts of financing from the Gulf states who have a very rigorous interpretation of Islam?
Well, I mean, I'd say Trump supporters are divided. There is a strong evangelical base, around at least 50 million white American evangelicals voted for Trump in 2024, and a large, percentage of those are solidly Christian Zionists. But we also are seeing some parts of Trump's base, especially the younger and more militant, parts of the "Make America Great Again" movement, who want to end all foreign aid and who don't want the U.S. to be involved in any foreign wars in the Middle East or in Ukraine, and they do want to dial back the U.S. presence in the Middle East. So we could see that camp becoming more emboldened in coming decades.
At the end of the day, Donald Trump will follow Benjamin Netanyahu's lead no matter what?
I mean, I think there might be some pushback here and there. It remains to be seen. He is quite impulsive, as you said. He does want to secure, other allies among the Gulf states. There are some voices in the Pentagon who advocate more restraint. It remains to be seen, but I'd say that just as much as Trump follows Netanyahu's lead, Bibi and the radical right Israeli government couldn't do what they're doing without the constant kind of diplomatic cover and support given by the U.S. So it's also the case that Bibi often has to follow Trump's lead. Really, they're working together a lot of the time, I'd say.
Ben Lorber, so many thanks for joining us from Chicago.
Yeah, thanks for having me.